This video is sponsored by War Thunder.
Recently, I did a fun little Dragon Bros stream with JK Leeds where he said something that really resonated with me.
I am gonna headbutt Smo in the balls. That's my goal for this fight.
And with that, the idea for smashing my forehead into the crotch of every boss of this game was born. Will this be tough? Probably not, but it's about the journey, so come with me and watch Beavis here smash her way through the game like only a headbanger could. I start Bandit due to the high vitality and endurance, but already have hit a problem. I am most definitely not a dragon. In order to become one, I need a whopping 30 dragon scales and to turn them into the guardian at the bottom of Ash Lake. That sounds complicated and time consuming, so how about I just Shazam! Dragon Torso Stone. The reason I did it this way is because there are 10 guaranteed scales, but not 30, and I don't really want to punch Drakes for a few hours to get the other 20, so thanks DSR Gadget. Anyway, the attack of the hour is the headbutt. To do it, you must be unarmed and perform a rolling attack. Pretty easy. And it does a crap ton of damage. Behold, 3-shotting the Asylum Demon. Easy, right? Well, maybe not. See, this is one of Dark Souls' shall we say, noob traps. Similar to the Drake Sword that you can find early on, it does a lot of damage. Sorry, base damage. Stats do not affect the dragon form's attacks. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't ways to increase the damage. In fact, the Torso Stone has a built-in one, with Screaming. However, I would not plan on using those because reasons? Mostly because RTSR involves being at low health, which makes it easier for me to die, leading to my second point. This attack, or rather combo of dodging and then headbutting, takes a lot of stamina. Sure, I get iframes from the first dodge, but then I'm left out with low stamina, and we all know that managing that green bar is one of the most important parts of this game. But regardless, I won't know what this run is like until I push forward, so in Lordron I touch the Firelink Bonfire and put my first few levels into Vitality. Oh, that's right, this is Ceaseless, I forgot. Anyway, I make my way up towards the Taurus Demon, definitely not almost dying to the hollows, and then use what little souls I gain to get a touch more endurance. Uncharacteristically of me, I managed to perform both the speedrun skips first try, and after dispatching the hollows on the roof, I'm ready for the first real boss. Damage is substantial, but that goes both ways, as for whatever reason the devs decided that you must remove all armor to become the dragon, and that dragon form doesn't grant any, well, armor. I don't know why they did that. I guess you're supposed to be a glass cannon with the roar buff, but like, seriously, why though? Anyway, Bull Boy is taken out, and I say hello to my fellow dragon on the bridge. I too have a fire breath attack, but it is way shittier than his. Sprint past the hollows and Christmas dinner, jump the gap, under the gate, slip around the church to meet an ebony-clad Glarthier, defeat him, grab the Firekeeper soul, and make it back to Firelink for a nice cold pint and wait for the Age of Fire to blow over. How's that for a slice of fried gold? Well, that was the plan. It turned out I'm not the main character and thus don't have plot armor. Fun fact, this hallway was harder than like 90% of the bosses in this run. There is another problem with the Dragon Headbutt that is prevalent throughout the whole run, but is occasionally offset by how large the damage is. I'll bring it up again later though, so don't worry. After 4 attempts, I managed to clear out the hollows and enter the Gargoyles Arena. Wanna know how well this went? Really goddamn well. The fight lasted about 20 seconds. You know, a totally average amount of time it would take to finish something off. It looks like I'm doing a massive amount of damage, but in reality, the boss just doesn't have that much health. I mean, the attack is landing for just under 300, but it looks like I take off about 25-ish% of their HP bar. This gave me a false sense of when the damage was going to fall off. Spoiler, it's way sooner than I thought. Well, anyway, one bell has been rung and it's time to talk to our old buddy Lautrec. Normally, I just kick him off the ledge, but I figured why not try to fight him this time. It wasn't so bad. He did end up living on 1 HP in a dream, but the dream died shortly after, awarding me the Fap Ring. This gives a boost to health, endurance, and equip load. 2 out of 3 of those things actually matter to me, so I'll try to keep this ring on as long as I can. I then take the elevator down to New Londo, open up the back way to Blighttown, fall with style into the swamp, safely touch this bonfire, then ask 4th best girl in the game to the Headbanger's Ball. The damage here wasn't terrible looking. I mean, one hit did just under 1 segment of her health bar, so I'll take it, I guess. Anyway, I carefully lead Quelaag around the arena to avoid any lava pools, and then I ram my head into her for about a minute and a half before she's finished. Ring the second bell, then put more souls into Vitality and Endurance, bringing them to 24 and 23 respectively. Then I decided to take on Ceaseless, but not in the cheesy way. See, I got a comment one time about how none of us runners fight him fair and square, and so I'm here to tell you why we don't. Because fighting him normally kind of fucking sucks. Like, it's not hard, it's just really, really boring. Oh, look, tiny hollow, me big, me smash. Oh, I miss, tiny hollow, punch arm. Ah, me dead. To be fair, I guess that's how the cheese version goes too, but after doing this, I'm kinda convinced the intended way to fight him is via the cheese method. Like, if you told me the designers came up with that method as the primary way to kill him first, and then thought, well, we need a way for stubborn players to kill him too, so they added in the actual fight as an afterthought, I would believe you. All you have to do is wait for him to slam his arm down, that you can walk away from, mind you, then go back and hit it a couple times. Repeat until Ceaseless has ceased to be less of a boss. I will admit I did die a couple times trying to do this, but that's just a combination of my low level, practically non-existent fire defense, and the fact that he hits like a runaway freight train, but like, it's so boring. So, to whoever commented saying this, yeah, here's your normal Ceaseless kill, I'll never do it again. More vitality is more gooder, then I make the long trek out of Blighttown, making sure to stop for the Firekeeper's soul both here and the one in New Londo before returning to Firelink and making my Estus a +3.
As I ponder my next move, I can't help but think how destructive this attack is. Hell, the whole form is, but it's such a shame it's hidden behind the highest rank of a secret covenant at the bottom of a lake down a huge tree in a poison swamp. I'd much prefer it if I could just be super powerful right from the get-go, like an M1 Abrams, which I can be in today's sponsor, War Thunder. War Thunder is the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made and is available now for free on PC, consoles, and mobile devices. That's right, you heard me, free. One of my personal favorite things is the X-ray view for damage. When a vehicle is destroyed, War Thunder shows you exactly how and what happens. Trust me, there's something really just chef's kiss about rolling up to a hill and sniping an enemy tank miles away and it's showing you that X-ray. Which is also why War Thunder is often described as being extremely immersive with their incredibly detailed vehicles, realistic graphics, and authentic sound effects that place you right at the helm of the most powerful war machines of our time. Take command of over 2,500 tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships of 10 major nations ranging from biplanes and armored cars of the 1920s to the fighter jets and main battle tanks of today. But don't fret if you aren't running an RTS 7090 Ti Super Giga card. The game is heavily optimized, giving you a lag-free experience with immersive visuals even if you have a potato for a PC like me. Join a worldwide community of over 95 million players in epic PvP battles today and delve into the breathtaking experience that is War Thunder. With an unmatched wealth of high-quality content to discover, there's simply no game better suited for fans of military history. Make sure to click my links in the pinned comment or video description below to sign up now for free, and for new and returning players that haven't played in the last 6 months on PC and consoles, you'll get some awesome bonuses like multiple premium vehicles, the exclusive vehicle decorator Eagle of Valor, 100,000 silver lions, and 7 days of premium account goodness. So what are you waiting for? War Thunder is available on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and mobile, so my friends, I'll see you on the battlefield. Thanks again to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming.
There are a couple more bosses I could do to squeeze out some more levels before heading into the mid-game, but I'm not super worried, so it's off to Sin's Funhouse. As usual, the run-up is completely uneventful, but this time I did stop to grab the Ring of Steel Protection. If Dragon Form won't keep me safe, this ring will. Iron Golem was kind of a roller coaster, actually. That is not a lot of damage, but after about 5 hits, he staggered, and I thought, oh good, at least I have plenty of time to get uninterrupted damage in. Then 2 more hits and he fell. We take those. Vitality to 30 and Endurance to 27, then it's time to take on the Inner Londo obstacle course. First up is the Rafter Guards, who prove to be a bit of an issue, followed by the Catwalk of Shame. Fortunately, I am light on my feet and managed to make it through first try. This Sentinel is just too slow, but the Batwing Demon makes up for that. Then, though, is the true fear. I fail at baiting the Silver Knight off the ledge, and am not able to inch around him. I was constantly afraid I would take an oversized arrow up the ass, but had no time to worry about any unwanted backside penetration. As such, I managed to face this one's sword head on and defeated him handily, or should I say, headedly. That means the next big threat is the dynamic duo, Ornstein and Smo. Now, I like killing Ornstein first. He has less health and I'm more familiar with Super Smo's moveset, but Ornstein is kind of a pain in the dick to land attacks on, so for better or worse, I decided to target Smo first. The damage was actually pretty serviceable. It only took a few headbutts to the balls and he goes down. Honestly, same though. The damage to Super Ornstein was less than stellar, but still not that bad overall. He really favored doing his grab attack, which is pretty easy to dodge just by rolling to the right, which also conveniently puts me in the perfect position to headbutt his chins. At some point he must have thought it wasn't working, so he changed to doing the butt slam over and over. A few times I was able to punish this, but I kept getting scared I would just get decimated, so it was better to just hang back. And in the end, he too falls. For my monumentous task, I am awarded the Lord Vessel. As a thank you, Guinevere, I'd like to head that by bringing Endurance to 30 and then use my leftover souls on Resistance? What? Am I mad? Well, no. Well, maybe a little, but no. See, after doing my Resistance only run, I learned that while boosting poison resistance is its primary thing, it also increases physical defense at a rate of double the other stats. In pretty much any other run, I would say that this is a waste, but since I can't get damage boost from stats and I'm approaching the soft caps for health and endurance, I figured why not. Anyway, Frampt also awards me for beating ONS, but he uses a little too much teeth for my liking, so I calmly place the Lord Vessel, then block his number. Egg. I return to the asylum to fight the Stray Demon, and this one takes a couple more minutes than I expected. It's not so much that I don't do a lot of damage, it's more that he does a whole lot, and so I would rather not get blown to pieces. He also took after Ornstein and spent half the fight floating in midair. I don't know why, but he just really kept trying to ground pound me. Listen, maybe headbutt? Maybe he was taking it literally, like he would crush my head with his butt? But that was going to cost me extra, so I didn't go for it. Upon death, he awards a useless slab and some not so useless 20,000 souls. I also grabbed the doll because who would ever forget that? I used said souls to buy the crest of Artorias from Andre, then head into Darker Garden where I probably ignore the door and go to Moonlight Butterfly. Playing it safe, this looks like it would be a 2-cycle. But I ain't got time for that, so I use my head to finish the butterfly off in one magnificent explosion. Was it as good for you as it was? I use the crest and make my way to Sif, and it's finally time to talk about the last issue plaguing this run. Sif is what I would like to call an easy boss. Sure, her attacks all hit decently hard, but it's really easy to get under her and she just can't do anything about it. This gives the player a lot of free shots to hit her in her legs. This attack sucks at hitting precise targets. It is actually a very linear attack directly in front of the character with extremely short range, meaning it's kinda hard to hit her at all. This was also an issue with the Iron Golem and Super Ornstein, but those two bosses didn't jump around for half the fight. Actually, this problem is also why I don't like using thrusting swords, unless it's on Priscilla, but that's a different conversation for when you're older. Anyway, this problem is exacerbated by the fact that I have to roll first in order to actually do the attack. Or in other words, I have to kind of predict where my character will be after the roll, while also predicting where one of Sif's legs will be and then free aim the attack to land. It's not fun. When it does connect, the damage is so-so, but it really does kind of suck to do this. To be, completely fair, it wasn't so bad. Like I said, her attacks can't reach under her. Not like another 4-legged boss later in the run, but anyway, it's only a matter of time before Sif falls. The reason I did her now is because I wanted to do the 4 Kings. They are one of 3 bosses that worried me, and it's for the exact reason that you think it is. First though, I must clear the water, so I make my way into New Londo, then trick all the Ghost Gals into following me outside before ducking into their house and panic climbing the ladder. Ingward, impressed with my skills in classic mage tactics, gives me the key to the seal that I can then use to drain the city. However, the game then reminds me that I'm never safe. While adjusting some settings in the menu, one of the spirits of Fmis Past hits me with a lightning bolt, sending me over the edge and hurtling to my doom. I actually managed to survive the fall, but a nearby Drake made sure I knew what game I was playing. I did drain the water though, so it's fine, I guess. Normally when I do this run back, I go all the way from Firelink and use the drop near the first couple ghosts, but JK actually showed me a slightly shorter path and a use for the bonfire I previously thought completely useless. So, starting from here, you take the elevator down, run past the blue chickens, take another elevator up, run forward a bit, jump off the ledge, and bam, boss door. Thanks JK, but this doesn't make up for the Fist of Gradia run, or the Dark Souls 2 bingo board, or the Bloodborne 1 HP run, or the other yet unannounced run, but it is a step in the right direction. So, 4 Kings. As expected, damage is absolutely shit. On a single king, it's not so bad, but as you can well imagine, I am not able to kill a single king before a second one spawns. They are also relatively thin, making it kinda hard to hit them sometimes, mostly when they are hunched over after a sword swing, if I'm at their backside. Definitely not as bad as Sif's legs though. I actually almost first tried them, but made a couple mistakes too many, and 4 Kings proved to be more than I could... You know what? No, I'm not making that joke. I died next attempt. This one went a bit better, because I won, but it was still scary near the end. I tried to quickly finish the fight, but this king exploded while they were one-shot, then I needed to dodge an onslaught of swords before landing my final victorious headbutt. Glad that's out of the way. I don't expect to see another worrisome fight for a long while. I hope. All of their souls go into resistance to up my physical defenses some more, then I figured the Bed of Chaos will be the easiest of the 3 remaining Lord Souls. Plus the fact that there are 2 bosses prior to that, meaning a lot of juicy souls, so I headed to the Demon Ruins. Initially I was going to ignore Kirk because who cares, but then I remembered he drops like 30k for some reason. So yeah, I'm taking him to Headbutt City. He can poise through my attacks, but like, I've got heals for days, and there's a bonfire right there in case it goes south. Really not a concern. Speaking of not a concern, Demon Fire Sage. Alright, fuck you too then, princess. At some point, he decided to continuously jump back against the wall to try and get away from me, then followed in his brother's footsteps by just jumping up over and over. Does Dragon Form break their AI, like, more than normal? Either way, he's an easy first try, meaning it's on to the Centipede Demon. As usual, the threat in this fight isn't the boss, it's accidentally getting knocked into the lava and not being able to get out before reenacting the ending of Terminator 2. That did almost happen at some point when I whiffed and he did the exploding fireball attack. But thankfully, it knocked me into the wall instead of the lake of Hot Pocket filling. He then tried it again, but I managed to escape the blast and take him down. With Orange Charred Ring on finger, I can easily run through Lost Isolith where I defeat the Pyromancer and Kirk once again. Using those souls, I'm able to reach the soft cap of resistance, giving me the nice Master Chief base physical defense. So, the Bed of Chaos. Yeah, no, I'm doing quit out strats. Mostly because I had 5 soft humanities, which helps boost defense, and I wanted to keep them for as long as I could, but also because screw this boss. I easily make my way to the right side, then roll into the nut to pop it, then make the jump on the left, actually paying attention to the hand slam, dodge through it, and burst the second nut. Now I just need to get inside. I got smacked on my first run there, but backed off and healed, then was able to easily slip in, make my way through the tangled branches, and squash the bug. His souls go into endurance, headed for the soft cap of 40, then I head to the Land of the Dead. The first Necromancer doesn't drop the Skull Lantern, but that's fine, where I'm going I won't need it. I use this drop to quickly get to the bottom and fight Pinwheel. Now, this go around, I actually take my time and remove the clones from the fight, as I was worried about how much damage I don't do. But it was more than I expected, or rather again, he just doesn't have a lot of health, and the fight ends rather anticlimactically. He drops the Mask of the Child. I knew if I didn't tell you, you'd all ask. Actually, now that I think about it, hit that subscribe button. Heh, you all probably thought I was gonna finish the reference. Nah, gotta keep you on your toes. Speaking of being kept on my toes, Patches kicks me into the abyss, but that's actually helpful as I can get the guaranteed Skull Lantern, then bone and warp out, making my way back to the catacombs because I'm an idiot and forgot to grab something on my way down. That something was the Dark Moon Seance Ring. Okay, well, bye to the 5 soft humanities, it was nice knowing you. I return to enter Londo, and to prepare for the DLC later, I murdered Lemon's wife. Hope this doesn't put a damper on our friendship, buddy. Then I head over towards the Duke's archives and attempt to parry the boar. Someone told me it's earlier than you think? That was maybe too early. Oh, holy shit, it's real. I mean, it doesn't really give me any tactical advantage in this run, but I did it. Anyway, I run through the archives and past the enemies, and it's up to Ceaseless to meet my mandatory death. So, I'm technically naked, scaleless if you will, so my curse resistance sucks. But I don't really want to be cursed, so I have to keep jumping in and out of the crystals to take chip damage and keep the curse bar low. Eventually, Ceaseless says he's had enough and explodes. Mood, honestly. And this is where the run dies. Apparently, the headbutt attack can't reach through the jail bars. That's awkward. I honestly didn't expect that to be the case. I mean, I knew some spells can't hit through it, but I've never seen a melee swing have that issue, and it makes me wonder if under the hood this actually isn't a melee attack for some reason. Fire Breath also doesn't work, just in case you're wondering. Anyway, I scratch his back a little too hard and he gives me the key to my cell, then I run down the stairs past the Japanese movie stars and grab the key to the tower. When I make it out, I pick up the big key, then touch the bonfire but don't sit because I have a big brain. I bone out back to my cell, head down again, have the world's worst acupuncture appointment, then grab the Firekeeper's soul. I then bone back out to my cell and warp to... Jane, please, I really thought this was gonna work. Has that always been there? Surely not, right? This has to be something related to Ceaseless. Somehow. Well, I guess it's time to fight C, so I stand by his crystal and wait for him to break it like the big dummy he is, then run up and shove my head into his one big ball and just... Jane, I did not. Fuck, they're probably gonna believe you. More endurance, then I head back to Darkroot to set up the DLC. So the Hydra heads actually go down in one headbutt, which is nice, but when I was on the last one, I accidentally inputted a regular attack and it landed, killing the Hydra. I probably could have revived it using Cheat Engine or maybe DSR Gadget, but I kind of thought it wasn't worth it. Except then when I took on the Golden Golem, I realized you can't do rolling attacks while you're slowed by water. Every head on the Hydra, except the last one, I just happened to be fighting him in shallow enough water for it to be the correct attack. So, to rectify this mistake, I bone out and head back to the asylum where I first trade my Skull Lantern for the Ring of Fog, then get pushed off a cliff by these hollows and I fucking hate this game. Second try that doesn't happen and I grab the Rusted Iron Ring, then return to the Golden Golem, murder him, free Dusk, attempt to leave her before she can leave me, head back into Sin's Fortress to grab the Slumbering Dragon Crystal Ring for later, make my Estus a +5, then finally return to enter Londo for the next couple bosses. I decided to do Gwendolyn first for no real reason, I just did. He played nice and used his bow a lot, letting me easily get close and headbutt him for okay damage. Pretty uneventful honestly, then I Mario 64 my way into the Painted World. So I want to show y'all something. I usually jump the railing because I thought it was a cool skip, like, wow, I managed to bypass the whole area. Did you know you could just walk off this railing and land in the courtyard? I mean, technically the jump does save a couple seconds, but like, it feels so dumb. Not as dumb as when I was trying to remember how to do the bridge skip. I can't jump attack the butt, and I don't want to get boned by multiple Tonys, so I decided to do this one where you fall under the ledge, but I couldn't remember how, or I guess where, and ended up just looking it up again, and it was fine. Right, so Priscilla. Weirdly, I wasn't able to knock her out of her invisibility for the whole fight. That's not a huge issue as I take very little damage from her swings, though there is something strange going on. The blood loss should be a set amount, but sometimes I would get hit and take different amounts of damage. It should be the hit plus blood loss, but it seemed like I would only take one of those? I don't know. Anyway, she's dead, regrettably. I make my way back to the archives and very slowly clear out the crystal hollow so I can fight the golem uninterrupted. He drops the pendant, which of course means I'm set up for the DLC, but there are a couple more base game optional fights first. One I was avoiding early on was the Crapper Demon because this attack and fast small dogs do not mix, but at this point I am hilariously overleveled so it won't matter. I was correct though, on my way there the dogs in the lower berg did prove rather annoying, so I had that to look forward to. They're a bit hard to hit, but thanks to being able to turn this attack on a dime after dodging, I can roll into the wall and just point it at them. With a smidge of luck they are cleared up and the fight against the boss is easy. Into the depths, I jump the railing and fight the butcher for her sack. The game crashed, didn't like that joke. She did drop it, so that's good. Then I plunge the meat shaft, grab the key, teach this Chandler who's boss, and it's time for, well, the boss. Gaping Dragon is extremely easy, just bait the head slam and butt heads. I even managed to cut off his tail because, why not? At this point I have hit the soft cap for endurance, so it's time to go back to leveling vitality. I could have done Nito as he is the final base game fight before Gwyn, but I kinda wanted to keep the Fap Ring on for as long as I could. Granted, that is why I got the sack so I could trade it to Snuggly. So, time for the DLC. First up is the Sanctuary Guardian, such a deceptive boss, and I don't mean like the boss is hard or something. In fact, what I mean is the boss is extremely easy compared to the other 3 fights. Please ignore the fact that I am poisoned and mostly dead, that is just for dramatic effect. I kindled this bonfire because I didn't have a big worry about Artorias, but I do think if I have to trade blows, I'm going to lose the encounter. As expected, my damage is kinda dog water, but his actually wasn't that bad either. Probably because of my high base physical defense and the Ring of Steel protection. This attack is actually pretty nice for this encounter. It's really fast, so it's kinda fun dodging through his attacks, headbutting, then having enough time to roll away. Pretty much every single attack in Artorias' kit can be punished this way. However, and completely unfortunately, it does not do enough damage to knock him out of buffing. And now his damage is not so trash. That's fine, I just have to invoke the age-old advice of don't get hit. As they say, slow and steady wins the race, and after just under 5 minutes, the Abyss Walker has walked his last abyss. In the township, I make sure to rock out with this Mimic to get his crest key, then get one shot because Darkbeat has never been QA tested. Manus is up next, and this is a far cry from when I attempted to one-shot him, I tell you what. Thankfully, he's a pretty easy fight. Again, this attack being so fast means I can pretty much always get a follow-up after his swings. I do need to be careful of any combos that he can do, like the multiple slams and of course the big 5-hit wombo combo, but it's pretty easy to stay at a semi-mid distance and just bait the jump or hand slam. When he adds magic into the mix, it does get a bit spicy, but the devs are smart enough to give him 3 distinct animations for casting, so as long as you have those memorized, it's not a huge deal. The most dangerous one by far is the Shotgun Blast because it has the strictest dodge timing and biggest damage output if you mess it up, but it's also just not a problem. In fact, I only got hit 1 time in this whole fight, and that was because I mistook this attack for his upward launch one. Easy boss is easy. Ah, Dusk, I shall whisper to you. 6033. I can't hit her. No, wait, misinput! We'll just pretend that didn't happen. With Manuses and a few poppable souls, I'm able to get vitality to 37 in preparation for the second of the 3 bosses I was worried about. Stupid dog, you make me look bad. Go, Calamet is spawn camping the ravine. Can you handle that? Thanks. So, Calamet, my concern with him is the same issue that I had with Sith. Basically, would I be able to reliably hit the boss with this attack, but to make it worse, Calamet has a billion times as much health and defense, and several attacks that reach under him. Strangely though, he didn't do a whole lot. Most of the time, he just tried to turn to hit me. I mean, I understand how his AI is trying to work. It wants to face me then decide what attack to do, but it was just kind of weird. I've never had him turn around so often. Normally he would try and fly up and away or stomp or something, but here he just kept on spinning. Oh well, I won't look a gift dragon in the mouth, I guess. I still took a few hits, and they hurt when they connected, but after a whopping 7 minutes, the DLC's final boss has drawn his last fire breath. Back in the main game, there is one more fight to take care of before Gwyn, and that's Nito, the First of the Dead. The boss itself isn't hard, he just lumbers around really slowly. The only 2 dangerous attacks are the Sword Slam and the Explosion. To be honest though, the only reason those are dangerous is because the first can be hard to time without seeing his arm, and the second one requires you to get danger close to some bony bros. Of course, I switched my rings to the Slumbering Dragon and Fog Ring, effectively turning me into John Cena, complete with wrestling moves that do little to no damage to my opponent. Thankfully, Nito isn't a DLC boss, so his health and defenses are much lower, and the fight is over before I know it. I then make a quick return trip to Sin's Fortress, obviously for the Titanite Shard this Boulder Knight drops, thanks Guy, and the backup prize of the Flame Stoneplate Ring giving me increased fire defense. With that, it's time I descend into the kiln of the First Flame for the final encounter. I decided to do this fight without parries. Why? I don't really know, but honestly it wasn't that bad. I was even able to dodge his dreaded quick slash on reaction, though I will admit after fighting him you can kind of feel when he wants to do that attack, while considering he's just ones and zeros. I will say though, he has some kinda ridiculous tracking on his poke, but hey, it was a choice. My first attempt ended not so well, but I could see the victory, I just needed to play a little bit better. Normally, Gwyn is kind of like a victory lap. You can parry the opening lunge and then more or less script the fight, but here it was a real fight. The desperation in his swings to extend the Age of Fire, the relentless yet soulless way his body moved. But even with all his strength, he could not cut me down. Gwyn, Lord of Cinder, God of Sunlight, rest now and let the fire consume you, and I, and all that ever was or will be.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching this week's video. This one wasn't particularly difficult. I mean, Dragon Form is pretty strong, but I kind of needed the palate cleanser between my last video, the 1 HP, 1 stamina video, and the next yet unannounced one, which comparatively is also quite difficult, but, you know, I just needed a break, right? Also, a big thanks once again to War Thunder for sponsoring this video. I always try out my sponsors before showing them to you guys, and I did genuinely enjoy my time with the game. Don't forget, you can sign up with my links in the description below and get a massive bonus pack that is available for new and returning players who haven't played in the last 6 months for PC and consoles, with all sorts of good stuff like multiple premium vehicles, 100,000 silver lions, and so much more. Get War Thunder for free now on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and mobile, and I'll see you on the battlefield. Oh, speaking of battlefield, it looks like Sarah R is this week's grand champion.